Hi, hello, hi, hello, peace be with you, I love you. Hi everyone, my name is Miyuki Canyo, 21 years old, and I am from Purok 5, Masbas, Tapal, Pubay, Bohol, Philippines.
Wow!
I am taking Bachelor of Science in Meteorology, and I choose this course because I am curious. I choose this course because when I took the entrance exam, it was my first time to encounter the word meteorology. So, I am very curious that time. That's why, out of curiosity, I chose BS in meteorology. Even until now, I am still pursuing it because over time, I find studying meteorology exciting and fun. Sure. Have you ever wondered why we have deserts and rainforests, like the hot desert in Africa and the famous Amazon rainforest in South America? Why we have monsoons and what the word ITCZ mean we always hear during Pag-asa's weather report? Well, let us answer these questions together by exploring the global atmospheric circulation. Years ago, people believed that there is only one large circulation system or wind pattern in the globe, and that was proposed by Sir George Hadley, and thus called the Hadley cell. It's like an equator to pole and pole to equator air circulation. As Mr. Hadley theorized that the warm air in the equator rises and flows poleward, but once it reaches the pole, it loses heat and cools down. This it descends back to the equator where it is warmed and rises again. Sir George Hadley also suggests that the easterly flow of the trade winds in the tropics was due to the Coriolis force. What is Coriolis force? Coriolis force is the force results from the Earth's rotation that deflects air currents to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. So now let us discuss the three-cell model: the Hadley cell, the Ferrel cell, and the polar cell. We all know that the equator receives the most solar radiation from the sun, and the solar energy causes the air in the equator to heat and become warm. In this case, the warm air in the equator rises up in the atmosphere. But as this air reaches about 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south, the air cools and begins to fall back to the equator. Heat is then transferred from the equator to the subtropical latitudes, and that is called the Hadley cell. The next cell is the polar cell. From the word polar, it is associated or located at polar regions, either the North Pole or in the South Pole. At about 60 degrees north and 60 degrees south, the cold polar air is warm due to the contact of the Earth's atmosphere. Once again, warm air rises while cold air sinks. As this air rises and reaches the poles at 90 degrees north or 90 degrees south, it cools and begins to fall, going to the equator. But since it is already low pressure at 60 degrees, the air is warm again and the process continues. Heat is being transferred at poles. In between the Hadley cell and the polar cell is what we call the Ferrel cell. As you can see, the Hadley cell and the polar cell circulates at different directions. The difference in circulation of the two cells causes the force what we call friction. And this friction drives the birth of the Ferrel cell. Okay, to sum it up, the Hadley and the polar cell is caused by differential heating, whereas the Ferrel cell It is caused by the friction between the Hadley cell and the polar cell. Our next topic is all about monsoons. What is a monsoon? How do they form? And what these monsoons bring to our climate? In our country, the Philippines, we have two monsoons. The northeast monsoon or the hanging amihan and the southwest monsoon or the hanging habagat. Monsoon basically occur when the air moves to the place where warm air is rising. And the area where warm air rises is called the low pressure area. Contrastingly, the area where the air is sinking, it is called the high pressure area. During amihan season, high pressure is located in the land of China and Siberia, while the low pressure area is located in the South Indian Ocean. Since air moves from high to low pressure, the wind will come from the northeast and thus called the northeast monsoon. The northeast monsoon brings dry and cool winds that associates light to moderate rainfall in the country. This monsoon or the hanging amihan happens between November to April. On the other hand, in the southwest monsoon, the high pressure area is located in the South Indian Ocean, while the low pressure is in the land of China and Siberia. Again, since air moves from high to low pressure, wind will come from the southwest, and thus called the southwest monsoon. The southwest monsoon or hanging habagat will bring warm and moist wind that is associated with moderate to heavy rains in the country. And these monsoons happens between June and October. In general, both the two monsoons, the hanging habagat and hanging amihan, brings rainfall to our country and basically it affects the weather. Now let us discuss the famous word ITCZ. ITCZ is the word we always hear in the television every time Pag-asa is doing their weather report. But do you know what ITCZ really means? ITCZ is the short term for the Intertropical Convergence Zone. So, it is the zone or place where the two trade winds from the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere meet near the equator. Most of the people mistakenly interpret the word ITCZ as for them it is the equator, but not. It is just or part in the equator where the two trade winds meet. This is the place where the warm, humid air masses are formed, and this will create cloudy skies that is associated with heavy rainfall and thunderstorms in the country. The ITCZ is also called the breeding zone of low pressure. This is because this is the place where most of the atmospheric disturbances are formed due to its location. In summary, the global atmospheric circulation model is composed of three cells: the Hadley cell, the Ferrel cell, and the polar cell. Hadley cell is located between 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south. The Ferrel cell is located at 60 degrees north and 60 degrees south, while the polar cell is located at 90 degrees north and 90 degrees south. Both the Hadley cell and the polar cell is caused by the differential heating, while the Ferrel cell is caused by the friction between the Hadley cell and the polar cell. These cells, the atmospheric circulation model, are very important as it serves as a means in transferring heat from the equator to the poles and poles to the equator. The global atmospheric circulation also gives birth to monsoons and ITCZ, which basically affects our climate and brings heavy rainfall to our country. By Philippines. Pagkatawa mo.
ありがとう。なんとも思ってないけど。